everyone, and welcome to Deep3 podcast. Today's guest is my ex-teammate, my good friend, Tony Easley. Tony, what's up?
How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Trying to stay positive, like we were just talking about earlier, right?
That's all we can do right now, man. Little positivity don't hurt nobody, bro.
I know. That. So you're the guy to talk about
Always. You know it.
Hey, I was in quarantine last year too when we played together. I was in quarantine for about 3 months, so
That is true. Hey, you made it
I've been
through,
through
man.
it.
You made it through. Mental toughness, bro. You made it through it.
Yeah, but I don't like this every year. It's like keeps happening. I'm like, at least I'm healthy this time. Like last year, it was like at least this time I'm healthy, but
That's a positive.
crazy situation, man.
That's true. That is true. That's a positive, though, man. You're healthy. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, as long as you have your health, man, you can do everything else will figure itself out.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Been there. Injuries, disease, whatever. I kind of been through it, so
Yes,
I know what you're
sir.
talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes,
But
sir.
so for those that don't know, you just came back from Italy, right? You
Mm-hmm.
were stuck there for a little while. We were talking about that, how you were stuck for a few weeks because the league was postponed and then canceled, and then kind of in the airport when you got the news.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How was that period for you, for mentally, especially mentally?
Um, yeah, thankfully, now that I'm older, it's a little bit easier to stay locked in, to stay prepared. I'm really one of those. I'm really big on staying ready. So during that time frame, we had the opportunity just to kind of stay ready. We were still in the gym. We were still running. We were still, I was able to lift a little bit while I was there. But where I lived, I had this huge hill, so I would just run hills. When the weather was good. So I tried to stay ready as much as possible, mentally, and physically. But it was tough. After a while, it kind of weighed onto you. Just the hope of playing kind of sailed away a little bit day by day. But overall, man, it was tough. Just because going without playing basketball is just hard anyway. That's just our job. It's what we do. It's what we love to do. But at the same time, facing the reality is totally different than what we want to happen. Sometimes. So just the reality of the situation kind of took that breath away from us. But still, we stay ready, man. Stay ready.
Yeah, that's all we can do right now. That's what I'm trying to do. Kind of just lift. Just find motivation to stay in shape because you never know what's gonna happen. But we're talking about that earlier too. How it's gonna be a year. Like I mean, I know leagues are getting ready for September, but it's just I don't know. You know how it is. The NBA sets the tone. Like you were saying, kind of soccer sets the tone in Europe too. So I'm like, if I see those guys playing, I'm like, you know what, like. When the next one's up. So.
Yeah. But the good thing about it, man, I think that you just kind of got to change the way you see your workouts, man. You're not just working out for the season; you're working out for the lifestyle. Just as far as just being healthy in general, man. So if you just change the way you view it, and you're doing this for your health, not just for the season, not just for your job, you're doing this just for overall lifestyle. It kind of helps you go and get that workout in, man. So for me, that's even myself now, like being home and just getting back, being able to kind of do small things just to keep myself going. Like I always say, low maintenance work things at the house, because I know that those things will help my body just in general, overall, if I'm playing basketball or not. So it's just how I view it. It's just how you see everything, So especially in times like this where it's up in the air, how you perceive everything is going to change how you work. So just how I see it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I was talking to Haji about that last year. When I was coming back, and we're talking about. I was like, man, you're 39. I was like, you shape like you're 21. I'm like, what's going on here? Right? And he was saying how he just stays in shape. I mean, that's the key to it all. And I'm like, that's the key to it off the court too. You want to be, if you want to be healthy mentally and physically, you got to stay in shape. You got to try to eat the right things and just, give yourself a boost with all that stuff and try to, stay as healthy as possible. But it's pretty crazy. But Tone, I'm gonna take it back all the way to Murray State. I see you got that T-shirt on, so we can go over there, right?
Every day, man. Every day. I got more Murray State gear than I do regular clothes, man.
All right, so I guess I know where you're gonna coach when you retire.
Hey, I hope so, man. That's a dream job right there for me, man.
Awesome. All right, so I think coming out of high school, just both of us are kind of like, I'm not gonna say undersized, but like we're not the most physical, like strongest players, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of kids deal with that when they're not physically ready for college. And what did you do mentally and physically to get ready? Because for me, it was very tough. I was like 6'9". I think I was like about 195,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the toughest part for me, trying to gain weight but still feel like the player that I kind of can move and stuff. And I gained a lot of weight. I was like 215, like 3 months, and then all of a sudden I was like, man, I can't. I don't move anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So mentally it was hard. Physically it was hard. How was that transition for you? Especially I was playing the four, but you're playing the five, so it's a different ball game too.
Yeah, man. Well, when I first got to Murray, man, I was 177 pounds, and I redshirted my freshman year because they wanted me to, I had 6 seniors ahead of me, but also they wanted me to get a little bit bigger. So I would lift every day, man. I was eating, jars of peanut butter. I was taking extra protein. I was doing everything I could do to try to gain weight, man. But just my metabolism and my body at that time in my life it just wasn't happening. So for me during that time frame, man, like I didn't really feel my body or feel bigger or stronger until maybe like going into my senior year, my senior year. But during that time frame of freshman year, it was just me trying to lift, trying to lift and kind of really get my roots in a weight room. When I left high school, I joke with people and tell people I was allergic to the weight room, man. I hated lifting weights. Like I just wanted to hoop, man. Like I was that kid who just let me just hoop. I don't care about the weights. They didn't tell me about weights when I played basketball. I just said, hey, go hoop, go dunk, have fun. So, so when I left high school, I didn't really have any good roots when it came to, or a good foundation when it came to weights. So I had to kind of relearn everything and build from the ground up. So it was tough. And it also was tough because my coaching staff left my freshman year. So alongside of kind of figuring out my body and figuring out basketball, I had to restart again the next year from scratch again. So, but at the same time, that freshman year gave me an opportunity to see how those guys worked in the weight room, how those guys kind of put everything into their bodies. And that kind of helped me direct my path a little bit better than it would have been if I didn't do that. So by my senior year, I kind of understood the importance of the body. I actually attacked the weight room. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time we'll go to the weight room, we'll just kind of just do stuff. Let me just get this workout out the way. I don't really want to be here. I would I would lift sometimes. I'd be on the bench press and I would just pick it up and I would grunt and scream or something and just rack it again just to make it sound like I actually did the weights, like the work. But I didn't do anything. So by my senior year, actually, I would actually put the work in and saw the results. But that freshman, it was tough, man. It was mentally tough, but it's a process. It really is a process. Just as much as your body is growing during that time frame, you're mentally growing at the same time. Some guys come in mentally prepared for that, some don't. But me at that point in time at Murray, man, I really wasn't mentally there in the weight room, so I had to really start from scratch. But by the senior year, I figured it out, man. I figured out the importance of weights. I figured out the importance of the body, and it changed everything for me.
Yeah, I mean, it happened to me when I transferred, kind of the same thing when I kind of just didn't play 12 months. And that was the best 12 months for me as far as basketball. You know, that's when I got better. That's when I became, the 20-point scorer that I was last 2 years in college, right? I mean, before that, I wasn't. So actually sitting out was one of the best things that happened to me.
Man.
And I wish, like, when I was taking my visit to West Virginia, Beeline was like, I'm thinking about redshirting you. And I mean, West Virginia was my first option. It was my only option, honestly, until it kind of fell too late. I didn't even care to listen to other schools. And they wanted me to play at the five too, right? Because they had Pisnago. And Beeline and I had a great relationship. He recruited me for like a whole 12 months. Like, came to Romania, like, spoke to my mom. Like, it was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he just fell through because of some political stuff that he had to deal with. But he was going to redshirt me, and that was my biggest thing. I was like, man, if I didn't trust him, like if there was any other offer, I think I would have been like, nah. Like, I
Yeah.
want to play right away.
Yeah, definitely.
And a year and a half later, when I transferred and I stopped, and all right, that coach was on me. He's like, it's up to you. It's like, you come to the Patriot League. It's like, you're good enough. I mean, you're going to be good enough, but do you want to be great at it? Do you want to come and kill the Patriot League, right? And all that stuff. So, big shout out to my coach right there. Because he taught me how to live. I mean, he taught me how to live, really. Just like you said, the first year and a half, I was kind of getting by.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of find ways, it's like, what you got to do, squat.
Definitely.
Right?
Yep.
Do one set, walk around, and like, oh, yeah, I did too.
I did. I finished it, coach. Yeah, exactly, man.
Right? I mean,
Exactly.
especially like the stuff that you don't like that doesn't come natural
Hmm.
to you, right? So then after you finish Murray State, you start playing pro, right? I mean, I mean, you played about everywhere. I saw that, right? Israel,
Man,
Romania, Italy, Germany,
Poland, Israel,
started in Poland too,
and
yeah, Warsaw.
man,
What
I've
what
been
was your
literally
favorite
everywhere,
country?
bro.
What was your favorite country? Now
To
you don't
to
have to say
live in,
Romania. You don't have to say Romania right now, so don't.
no, to
No,
live
what was your
in,
favorite country? Yeah.
to live in. I would say, man, honestly, to live in. I've lived in some great places in Italy. Just I've lived in some kind of like some of those kind of like those dream places. I've been able to live those places. So I would say
Well,
Italy,
you play
man.
soccer, right? So,
Exactly, man. Like I was there. I mean, playing in Sassari, playing in Rome, man. Rome's it's probably my favorite city. You know, my favorite city. Just the culture there, the history of that place, man, and just the city itself it has an energy, man. It has an energy day and night. So it's just one of those places where it's always alive, and I just love that about it, man. I love the history. I love just driving around, seeing different things. I loved it, man. So I would say Italy, man. If I had to say specifically Italy, either Sassari or Rome. I would say Rome a little bit more because it does kind of stay warm there. But Sassari's weather and that island magic, man, is just something different. It's
yeah.
different, man.
So like,
It's different.
yeah, I went to Sardinia one time on like a vacation. We loved it. It's different.
It's different,
It
bro.
was, it was a pretty cool spot. And then I know you've had your fair share of injuries too. Luckily, not too many, but I know you had one in Turkey, right? And I mean, it's similar to me in some ways. You know, I had my injury in Turkey, and
Hmm.
we're talking about how at some point, you know, like last year, I think we are talking about the physios and you know how different it is than in college, right? You got these
Hmm.
physios in college where, I mean, in college they want you to play, but at the same time, they kind of, at least my physio was, you know, he was health oriented, right? So he
Hmm.
was like, "Are you healthy enough to play?" Right? I mean, I want you to play. It's a sprained ankle. You're gonna play on it. But if it became more serious, you know, he was really, really concerned about it. And how they deal with that injury, you know, talk about in Turkey. I know you were not thrilled about it when we talked. But then, I mean, it was mentally for you to come back from that stuff, right? It just that,
Yeah, yeah. The injury in Turkey, man. It was hard. It was hard because it was my first injury. It was my first time actually being or having to sit down and not play, like something stopping me from playing basketball. So that whole mental process of just, why can't I play? Usually I'll get a knock or a hit or my knee would hurt and I can still play, but I can't play with this one. So mentally that block started there. Um, but then after the process of them not figuring it out and guessing and us guessing and so it's just a cloud over what was going on. So that's when the worry started to come in, the anxiety started to kick in. And then once I got back to the States and figured out what the problem was and kind of started the process of working through it and getting it healthy and not needing to have surgery and the problem not really being as big as I thought it was, everything kind of settled from there. But I think the biggest scare for me was that I didn't realize that injuries were a part of the game. I think that a lot of time basketball players, we don't think that injuries are a part of our career. Like it's a part of our job. Just like if you work construction, somebody drop a hammer on their foot, they get hurt. That's just a part of the job. Like it happens, but you don't expect it to happen because you feel like I'm healthy, man. You don't foresee those things happening because you feel good, you feel great, and you trust your body, your body. But when they do happen, it kind of comes out of nowhere. You're just confused and you're in that limbo. So for me, fighting through that mental block, man, it was tough. It was tough while I was there. It was tough because I didn't have any answers. I didn't know why it was hurting as bad as it was hurting. I didn't know why my knee had swollen up so bad. I didn't know, even the doctors, they were telling me so many different things that they didn't know why. I didn't trust them. So that all those things added together kind of left me in a place to where I didn't know. And I was scared. I was scared for my career. I was scared for what would happen for the rest of my career. I felt like I still had more years to play. So I was in a state of fear. And then once kind of it got that fear set in, depression kicked in, oh man, I'll never be able to play again. What happens next? And Thankfully my wife, she was that voice during that time period. She was just like, you're okay. You need to work on this. You go here, do this, and do this, and kind of help me fight through that. And once you kind of see a little bit of light, that kind of carried me through that little dark time. And I had great trainers here, man. Like I had a great my actually I went to see my trainer back in Murray, man. He kind of helped me, kind of gave me the right mindset and say you need to work on this and do these things. And then I actually hired a trainer, a strength coach, um, to teach me how to be a professional. Honestly, like I didn't know how to lift. Once I became a pro, man, I didn't like to lift weights. So um, my body was just returning on me, man. And I tell kids now to this day, like any rookie that I meet, any basketball player, period, your body breaks down before skill sets. So all the time you spend in the gym working on your jump shot, spend that time in the weight room getting your body strong. Like you get your confidence from your body. Like think about your body as a car. Your skill set is all the rims and the tinted windows and the candy paint. That's the skill stuff. But the actual body work, that's your engine. That's the body. That's your body. You gotta always work on your engine, man. You gotta always work on the axles. Every time something happens wrong with your car, it's just a maintenance problem. So that's the same thing as your body. You have to keep your body at the maintenance. And so once I learned that and started focusing on that, man, the injuries, even the mental blocks, they kind of faded away, man. It faded away, and I was able to go to Finland and finish the season there healthy. I mean, mentally, I was probably the most confident I had been in my whole career. I was truly aggressive. I felt great, and from there, man, it's just been going up. So
Were you
yeah,
the strongest, or like, did you feel like you were the strongest at that point too, physically?
I felt like I was the strongest in my career, as far as
That's what I'm saying.
professionally.
I think like
Like,
what you were saying is the strength and the confidence came together.
yeah, yeah, man. Like, because the thing is, like, for me being the skinnier frame guy, and I'm in the paint trying to push with guys. So for me, the more that I can take those bumps and give those bumps out, the more confident I play. But when you take bumps and you start to hit me a little bit, and you start to feel them. That's when your
Yeah.
confidence goes down a little, because you feel like I can't bang him as hard as I want to, or he's a little bit bigger than me. So you kind of mentally, you just kind of like, what, you kind of go in a hole. But once you feel your strength and you say, what, oh man, my core is tight. I took that bump. Or you finish one basket and you say, oh, I finished that strong. Your confidence builds, and then you start lifting more weights. You say, what, feel good today. You poke your little chest out a little bit, and you feel a bit better. So once that kind of that process started with me, the end result, man, I felt confident, man. And even to this day, man, I lift, like during the seasons, I lift, man. I try my best to lift as much as possible, because I know that's where I get my confidence from. Always been the skinnier guy ever. My whole career I've been the skinny guy, the skinny athletic guy. So once I started to feel my body, I could take those bumps. My confidence through the roof, man. So I really gained it from lifting.
That's awesome. That's awesome right there. Because I want to go. To me, honestly, you're like one of my favorite teammates.
I
Like you're.
appreciate
I mean, you're just. It's just not many players you ever see that like team oriented. And then they always want the best for the team. And we're talking about confidence, right? So last year when I was gonna say I got hurt. I got whatever. I guess you can say hurt. I don't know. So when they found out that in December that I had a Hep A and I'm done for the season, they decided to move you to four. Because I mean, I think you can shoot. I think it's a
it.
confidence thing for you as far as that goes. But I mean, you're not used to it, right?
Mhm.
Like you were saying, you used to playing the five, and all that confidence was taken away from you, right? And it just you as the team first, positive player. I know you. It's just when I came back, I couldn't be around the team for 3 months, I think, and I came back with March or so, and I just didn't find you the same way, right? I feel like you were down, you were doubting yourself, you're questioning yourself, you're
Mhm.
questioning your shots,
Mhm.
uh, right? So how do you deal with that kind of stuff? When clearly, I mean, you're not playing your position. I think that was the main thing. I don't think you should have moved at that point, no matter what the situation was, because you lose your efficiency. Uh,
Mhm.
to me, you lost about everything,
Yeah.
because your confidence was there, your rebounding wasn't there. Then, well, I mean, everything. It's difficult because it's totally different to play the four and five, at least in Europe, in a system like
Yes.
we had.
Yes.
Uh, Especially when that system, I'm totally different than the format, right? I'm going to shoot a lot of threes, so
You
you're
gonna
losing
knock
the
it
money
down.
inside out, right? So it
Right.
was just a lot of. I know I was trying to talk you through it as far as like from a
Mhm.
shooter mentality, but it was very difficult for you. So that's why I want to touch on that confidence as far as how did you manage that whole period where you knew it's not a matter of skill, it's not a matter of strength, it's just a matter of something that you couldn't control, right? It was
Yeah.
somebody playing you out of your position,
Right.
something
Right.
you didn't sign up for.
Right.
How did
Right.
you manage that? How did you try to deal with all that?
At first, I took it as a challenge, man. I think that was one of the things I've always wanted to play the four spot, man. I felt physically, I felt like my body was a four man's body.
That was it.
I've always had the mindset that if I could pick up the four man skill set, I'd be a problem. Like in my mind, I'm like, you know what? If I can just shoot the ball with like that, it'd be a problem because I could space the floor out. I'm a little athletic. I still got a little bounce in my legs, and
Yep.
I have a pretty quick. I'm pretty quick. So like for me,
I would say a little.
for me, I appreciate that, man. For me to add that to my package, that would be incredible. But the thing about it is, whereas you're an elite four man, you've been playing for years now. 10 years, 12 years. For me, last season was year one. I'm a rookie. It's like yoga. There's people who've been practicing yoga for 20 years and they can do all the stretches. And then there's people who just got there yesterday and they can't even touch their knees. You know what I'm saying? So like that was me. But for me, just taking it as a challenge, it was like every day was like, you know what? I'm stretching a little bit more every day. The more that I learn, I can learn this, I can learn that, I can learn this, I can learn when to shoot. Honestly, I'm such a team player. Like I'm one of those guys where I'll say yes, and I feel like I can figure it out on the fly. So for me, it was more so figuring out how to play the four on the fly, learning the spacing, learning where to get the shot off. Because the four man in Romania with that team, you weren't so much as a slashing four, or you kind of were a spot shooter. He had the four man set in the corner, extended wing. We were never really at the top of the key per se for anything. So I was shooting shots. The corner shot is a difficult shot in general. Even if it's a mid-range jumper from the corner, it's a difficult shot. But I was basically spaced out into the corner and just kind of waiting to take a shot that I didn't even know if I should shoot it then and when to shoot it. I didn't know if it just, my mind was like, just wait till you're wide open and shoot it. If it's contested, don't shoot it.
As a shooter, actually, what I've learned over time is patience is key. And it was crazy. I'm not a very patient person off the floor. But I've learned that it just, you don't get a rhythm.
Yeah.
You just kind of, if you're patient mentally, your brain is basically going to give you the mental and the peace to take that one. Because you might be 8 minutes in the game and take your first shot. And then you might get four in a row, and then you might wait another 20 minutes and take another four shots.
Man, that's true.
And that was the hardest for me in my whole career in Europe. That's why I think in college, in Estonia and France, individually as far as scoring and stuff, I had my best seasons. Also in Romania the first time around, before I played with you guys. But the same thing when I had the ball in my hands, I was more of just a scorer, not just a shooter. So it's tough, like to make that adjustment where to become a stretch four, like you said, where you're just waiting for the ball, right?
Yeah.
So like you're not cutting, you're not really cutting, you're just waiting. I'm like, you get it, like, and you don't really know when that pass is coming either because it's not like set in stone, right? So
it's tough. That was tough, man.
Difficult transition, I think.
Yeah.
But how was your approach? So then you have this approach, right? As far as I'm a team player, I got to do whatever the team asks me to do. Then go into the summer. I think everybody left frustrated, last season for a reason or another. How did you approach that summer as far as when you were looking for a team, when you were preparing for the season? Did those two approach, like, were they very different in the past years, or like were you like, oh man, I got something to prove right now, or you were like, I'm the same player, I'm gonna keep continuing do what I do, and then somebody's gonna take me that really needs me to do what I do?
Honestly, it was the thing last year taught me was that what I do is effective. For me to see the difference between me playing the 5 and the 4, how I affected the game playing the 5 and the 4, it showed me that it kind of gave me a confidence. It kind of reassured that, Tony, you're okay at the 5. It's okay the way that you play. It just happened that you were a circle and they needed a square, or you were a triangle and they needed a rectangle, like it's just you didn't fit that puzzle piece didn't fit, and it's okay, And
Yeah.
and the thing that I had to realize about basketball, it's just one season, you know. In your career of basketball, I think a lot of times us as players, we our career dictate, or even our seasons dictate our salaries. So like we feel like, if we don't get a salary for this next year, then the season's over with. But honestly, the season itself, you have opportunities. You probably don't pass up on because of different things, different salaries, countries, teams, the program itself. So my mindset wasn't so much as I had to prove myself or anything like that. It was just more so I had to get back to doing me. I had to get back to being able to do me and finding a situation that allowed me to play my type of basketball so that I could showcase what I can really do. And once I found a situation that wanted me for me, just wanted me for not to see if I can do this or if I can do that or if I can play this way or if I can, who just wanted me for me. And once I found that, I said, "Hey, man, this is where I'm going. I'm going." For me, 10 years in the game, into teams who had big money and they just wanted me for big money. The big money, I didn't like it. I went to teams who wanted me to play like this or like that. Didn't like it. I went to a team one time, man. The coach is just like, "Show me what you can do." What? You didn't scout me? Like, what? Didn't like it. For me to go
I
somewhere
saw
where,
Joe.
you
I saw
know,
Joe. Tony right there. That's it. I saw Joe. Just put him in. Get out of the
dude,
way.
dude, I will never forget this, man. We were in practice, and I had got there like in the middle of their preseason, so he was just kind of like, all right, one of the players had a foot injury or plantar fasciitis. So he called me up. I'm second on the list. You know how teams are. They have their list of guys, and then they go through. Blah, blah. So I was second on the list. So in my mind, you scout players. So I get there. All right, man. Let me see what you can do. Okay. I can run, jump, shoot, lay up, defend. I can do whatever, man. What you want me to do? I'm a team guy. Put me anywhere. I can figure it out. But but no, after leaving last year, man, after leaving last year, it really kind of opened me up to seeing what I do. It gave me a confidence in my game itself. It kind of reassured me as a player myself, honestly, which is I always try to look for the positive in any situation. Like it's easy for me to look back like, you know what, man, you didn't play well at the four. Your numbers weren't high. It was a tough year. You struggled. But honestly, it was a great year. I had my son there. We played well together without everything that happened. We still had a great year. The team stayed together. You know, Personally, we stayed healthy. Even you fought back. You had the opportunity to come back to the floor. You still came back around. So it was some positive things to take away from that season of life. And I just carried that on to the summer, man. Like I keep the positives with me. I build on those because one thing to kind of let the negatives bring you back down and keep you in that spot. But I can't go back to Romania to fix what happened. I only can move forward. So for me to move forward is for me to be, what can I take with me now? And that's just
Yeah, I mean,
reassuring who I am as a player.
yeah, it just kind of happened to me. For me, it was like a rude awakening. Like my rookie year at Benetton, uh, I came in and Sasha Georgievich, right? He's balling right now. To me, I really like him. I think he's a great coach. I think if you'd have called me about 5, 6 years into my career, he would have gotten whatever he thought I can get the rookie year. It's just that I was coming from 36 minutes a game, and he played me off the bench. He played me like 12 minutes a game, 15 minutes a game the first 3, 4 months. Then Scalabrine goes back to the NBA, and he's like, all right, like now you're starting. And like as soon as I start starting and playing 25, 30 minutes, I had like 20 against Rome. Then we go in Zagreb Euro Cup. I had like 18. I started playing really well. We played Sassari. I think you were there, right? We put the
Mm-hmm.
Hostley, right? So we played you guys at home. Then I had like 14 or something like that. So I was like on a roll. I felt like it. We had a conversation like, okay, cool. Like we're just figured out, but we're not like we'll let you start, especially because I had like a +1. So like I was supposed to be there next year, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. Like season was not going great for us as far as like Italian league, but that was the kind of they brought somebody else in, and as far as confidence, that was my rude awakening, right? So like I was down, and I can't pull myself back up, kept
Right.
working, kept plugging away. It was somebody else in, and that's when I was done. Like he lost me. At that point, I admitted he lost me for the season. It was pretty
Yeah.
early, so I think it was like January, February. But just have like the lows, the highs, and then just I was just low for the rest of the season. But to me, that was different. That's what I was asking you because when I was asking this, for me, that summer was different. Like I just want to listen to teams that are going to give me the ball. I was like, who? No. Like I was like, no. I was like, I feel like I got to prove myself. I just wanted
Right.
to prove myself. I was
I
like,
get that.
I'm sorry. I was coming from college, scoring 20 a game, and I had like 6, 7 a game, and I'm like I don't know. I know European basketball is different, but like I literally waited. Like I think I signed like super late in August, like in France. And that was my coach was a rookie coach, and he's like, I just need you to come in, just like you said, just do you. I was like,
Do you
go
get
pick a
buckets?
pop, go post up, you shoot your one leg fade away. I ain't gonna say nothing to you. Go get it done for me.
Definitely. No,
Luckily,
that's
I had
it.
a good team around. We had a good team around where we knew like, okay, that's me and Bernard King, our shooting guard. Like, okay, we're gonna do this, and then everybody else plays it. You know, so it was just a different approach. That's what I was asking you because I couldn't carry that confidence and I couldn't find the
Yeah.
positives in it. Like
Right.
for me, it was just kind of blank slap in
No,
my eyes. Like I was mad as hell.
I get that. No, I get that, man. And the crazy thing about it, man, I've been through so many different phases like that, man. Like my my when I first when I got injured, when I went to Finland, that was my mindset. I gotta kill. I gotta come here and kill at the end of the season. To just to get a better opportunity for next year. When I left Saucery, the second year there, I left and I went to Venice. I went there. My whole mindset that summer, I have to gain weight. Every coach kept telling me, "You're too skinny, man. You're too small. You're too this and you're too that." So I was like, I gotta gain weight. So I got a trainer, man. I got fat, dude. Like I was like, I, Vlad, I was eating 5,000 calories a day, bro. I was trying my best to get fat. So when I went to training camp, I was fat. Like I couldn't play above the rim, but I could take all the bumps and bruises. But I wasn't playing my same basketball. I can be honest and say I wasn't. Like my mindset would change going to different seasons to where, now it's towards the end of the career. It's like I just want to be able to be me. I want to be able to be me. Like I shouldn't have to prove myself to anybody else, even to myself. Like what you've done has gotten you this far. It's okay, man. It's okay to be you. It's okay to be you. You just have to find somewhere who lets you be you. And I think a lot of times us in basketball, we would rather go to different situations where, you know, it may be money, it may be more playing time, maybe more incentives. If you're in college, it may be more a bigger name college. But for me, if you go to a place that allows you to be you, more opportunities come to you. You're a magnet then, instead of you just trying to, you're attaching to something else. Things come to you, and if you're able to be yourself and play your own basketball, man, that for me, that's the most freeing thing about being a basketball player in the system where coaches believe in you, they trust you, and you're allowed to be yourself. All of you, not just half of you, not just a little bit of personality, all of you. And I think you play better basketball that way.
Oh, you played the best basketball that way. To me, that's one of the decisions that I don't regret many decisions in my career. But the only one I regret is going to Turkey because I had to deal with Limoges in France. I mean, the fans were great. They were already following me on Twitter. They got a rumor out. We kind of got a deal done. I was like, I'll sign tomorrow morning. And then overnight, my agent came with like a offer that was like 40% better financially. At that point, I was like, you know what? Like, I got 2 kids, one on the way, three. I was like, let me take the money, right?
Takes that check, baby.
It was a whole lot of money. It cash a check, but I'm still missing about a good chunk of it. I'm
That
missing like
happens.
five. I'm I'm missing like 5 checks of the lowest 10, right? And I got injured there too, and like the same thing happened to me, like you said, with the treat, like they mistreated the injury, diagnosed it, whatever happened, but they made me lose a lot of time and made me play injured too. Um, but yeah, that's one of the things that you're bringing up is get somebody that's going to use you and that they know you. They get the best out of you, not
Yeah.
just like when I was in Turkey, literally the coach was like, "Well, you scored 15 last year. You scored 15 last year." And I mean, we have Irving Walker, Bracer, right? Wojdan Stanovsky, right? Me, and then Diamond Simpson, come from Maccabi. I was like, okay, like good looks on paper, but like we just, we didn't mix and match. Like
Right.
it wasn't a puzzle. It
For
was just
sure.
like it was
For
here,
sure.
here, here, and like
For
go
sure.
do you, and like used to come in. It's like first few games, I was scoring 12, and I was like shooting 4 from 5, and I told my agent, I was like, at some point it's gonna break. Like I'm gonna be 1 for 5. I'm gonna score 2 points, and then he's gonna be mad, because he just wanted everybody to score like they did the previous season. I'm like, this is a different team. Like
Exactly.
I was taking 10 shots a game, now I'm taking 4. Like He's like, do you? I'm like, yeah. So like, let's take a pop, and like, if I get the boss, like, like stuff like that. I'm like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't. So I totally understand that, and like what you said about that, there's really good advice I think for the rookies or for younger players. Really find a situation where the coach knows how to use you and really
yeah.
uses you to whatever you're comfortable at or whatever you want to do and you think you can do. There's a certain level of that, right? Not everybody can be Mike James, right? So
Right, right. No, no, for sure, man. But I
there's a
think
skill of what comes with it. So you gotta either take whatever you're given or
run with it. Run with
exactly.
it, man. Because I gotta tell guys, like you just said, like when I was younger, man, like I was chasing the check. Like that's just real. That's just what happens when you're young. You need the money. You have the opportunity to make large amounts of money, so you're gonna go for the big number instead of the little number. But sometimes the little number is a team that wants you. They don't want what you can do. They want you. They want all of you. They want you to be the captain. They want you to be the leader. They want you to be the locker room guy. They want you to be the positivity. They want you to be the motivation. They want you to be everything. And then you trade that to go for a check who just wants you to come and be a pass first point guard, who wants you just to come be a rebounder, or
They put you in the
who wants
box.
you. They put you in a box because you're a product. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? You're a product. You're not a person to them. You're just okay, you're not playing well a couple of games. We'll give you a couple more games, then we may get you out of here, or they may bring a replacement in for you because for them it's bigger than just you because they have a
Yeah.
brand, they have an organization, which is perfectly fine. But for me, I was very uncomfortable in those situations where I would chase the checks because I'm a people person. I like to please people. I like to help. I feel like for me to be able to help people out and help the team out gives me a different type of energy in my life. And when I was playing for these big organizations and chasing a check, man, I didn't get anything. There was no spirit there. It was just work. It felt like a job. It
You
didn't
didn't
feel
get
like
anything
basketball.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. There was nothing reciprocated. So for me, once I figured out, okay, dang, it's not like that everywhere. When I left Venice, to be honest, I wanted to be done with basketball. Like that was my first time being in an actual business. Like Saucery was different. Venice was different. So like leaving from Saucery where it was more family, it was more,
I was gonna say you play for Mel Saketi, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean,
Playing for man.
it's a player's coach. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
think I heard anybody
man.
say
He is
a
the dad
bad
of
thing about him
dads.
as a yeah. He's like he literally is like I heard like a father friend type thing.
Yeah,
That's
man. The
very
whole
hard to crack as
staff.
a player in Europe.
Yeah, yeah, man. He's first class, man. First class dude, first class dad, man. So to leave that and go to a business, Venice is a business. They're very successful, well ran, but it's a business, man. They want you to come in, they want you to do what you have to do. And that was my first time facing that in my career. So I didn't know how to face that. I didn't know how to react to that. I was young. I didn't know how to handle that. So
Yeah.
for me, chasing a check never worked out for me. Even when I left there, I would go to Turkey and chase a check there. Didn't work out for me, man. Didn't work out for me at all. I went there twice. Didn't work out both times, man. Like,
I would
so
not go back there. I tell you
no,
that.
man, it didn't work out for me, man. So for me, because the thing I tell young guys is like when you chase a check, it blinds you to the things that would like it blinds you to those warning signs, because all you see is those dollar signs. You're like, I see that bread, and you just looking straight at the bread, and you don't see the things around you that are like, nah, you shouldn't do that. You don't see the warning signs. So for me, depending on your situation in life, if you need that check, chase it. But just know that there's going to be some stuff that comes with it that you may or you may not like.
Yeah.
They may make you react a certain way. They may bring something out of that you didn't know you had inside of you. But if you need it, do it. But if not, find a team that believes in you, man. Because I guarantee you'll make more money finding teams that let you play the way you want to play, and you'll gain more success from that than just chasing check to check to check to check. Your bank account will be bigger, but you may go through a lot more stress. So it just depends on what you want to
Yeah.
do, man.
And what you're ready to handle too, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, what I found in myself, especially that year in Turkey, taught me a lot. I'm fine with being put in the box, right, as long as the team is good. If we're taking championship, like we did in Poland, right? And I was cool with it. I was averaging like 7, 8 a game, but I was like, man, that's great. Like we had 8 guys doing that.
Hmm.
Then you go to Turkey, and it's like, the bigger check came, and it was just like chaos. I'm like, I don't do chaos. I'm like, it's not my style. Like
Man,
even, it just it's not what I do. So for me, I think it's just I know that my box is literally give me the box on a good team, and you put me in that box, I'm cool with it. Like even this year, I feel like I was very limited in a
hmm
lot of ways. I think they use me as like not even a lot of pick and pop. We played a lot of off ball screens for me. It's cool. It's very different for a forward, but I actually like it. I love it. I love shooting off ball screens. Uh, and catch and shoot stuff. So I was like, okay, that's cool. But the team was good, right? I mean, we were in fifth place. We probably could have had a chance to get in the semifinals, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were that good, right? And we're like a lot of veterans too. Coach is great. So it was cool being put in the box, but or like you go to the Panathinaikos and Tescas and Olympiacos and Real Madrid. I mean, that's a whole different box. We're talking about.
Man,
But to go get put in the box and like I was in Deep3, like 13th in Turkey. I mean, what are you playing for? And I'm like, why am I just sacrificing myself? Like I said, it becomes a job. Um, and when it becomes a job, I mean, you're flat. Your energy's flat. You know, I mean, it's a whole
it's different, man.
like
It's
like you
different
said, you just don't
basketball.
want to play anymore. I'm like,
Yeah,
this
man.
is it's not what I want to do. It's not what I love. I don't love. Like,
It's different basketball, but it's like it's like sometimes guys play in the summertime and they'll have like you'll play pickup ball. Pickup ball is one thing. It's free basketball. It's joy. It's fun, but then you have those guys who go to those money tournaments, and those guys turn different. Then the basketball is different. Then some guys excel because they're playing for the check and they're motivated. Some guys just come in and just kind of but some guys
yeah,
freak out. Some guys, TBT tournaments, some of those guys, they don't play the same way they play when they're free because it's a little bit more pressure on them. When you're playing for that big check, it's a little bit more pressure for you to perform. It's different. You don't have that kind of that leeway a little bit, that cushion to be like, I had a couple bad games. You're in a pressure cooker because they want you to perform. You have to perform at a higher level because you're getting paid to do so. You're a higher gun. So I feel like sometimes that pressure gets to players. And some of those players react the right way. Diamonds need pressure, to become a diamond. So some of those guys turn into a diamond, some turn into a coal. And that's just certain seasons of your life. But if you can handle that, go, man, go to it. And I hope that you succeed in those situations. But I just know me personally, I couldn't handle it, man. Not at that point in my life, I couldn't handle it.
yeah. I mean, I think even right now, not knowing what's going to happen in the future, but I can tell exactly. I can pinpoint exactly what I need in a team. What I want in a team. And I think earlier in my career, I didn't really know that.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I wish I would have known that coming out of college. When I had, Benetton was the biggest offer I had financially and as far as brand name, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually a team that wanted me when I was a junior too. Before I left the U.S. When I
Wow.
was 15, they wanted me to go there, their academy, kind of become, But I was just so set on the states, stuff like that. Um, so when it came up, then I was like, yeah, that's it. Then the other offer, for example, was Caserta. I know you played there too, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Coach Sacripanti was there, and then he knew me from, I think we played in like under 18 and stuff like that. Like Romania, with Romania, we beat Italy, right? And I mean, they were like a lot better than us. And he was the coach there. I played really well. Like that was like maybe 4 years before I got there. But he offered me right away.
Wow.
Like Caserta offered me right away. And, I turned down. And I'll put it this way. That year they signed it for Andre Smith, he put him up. And I mean,
That's
he
my
got
guy.
buckets.
He got buckets. That was my guy.
Hey,
My
but
guy.
yes, but then every time I watched it, I was like, yeah, that's my shot. I'm like, I'm struggling here. Big, like, Benetton, like, I'm trying to be and I'm like, nobody told me that. Like, I'm thinking of my agent right now who, wasn't with me back then, but like, for this kind of stuff that you should know, I feel like,
Yeah.
coming from, especially like, I don't know, I was coming from a smaller college where I really could score a lot. I knew I could score at a higher level too because it was the difference. Like, I mean, I had games I scored 30 against Pittsburgh when I was like number one in the country. So I was like, it wasn't, man, I can't score at this level. It was
Mm-hmm.
just a matter of, I like, so when I made a transition, I was like, I wish somebody told me, like, hey, dummy, you know what? Say no to Benetton, say no to Euro Cup, go to Caserta right there and just get your rhythm on, like your rookie
Man.
year, you find that. And like every time I was watching Andre Smith, that's what I remember. Watching the tape when I was scouting them, and I was like, oh my goodness, like a whole different, like, I mean, great player, and I
Man.
was like, but he had a lot of freedom too. I was like,
A lot
that's
of
what I
freedom.
wanted. I was like, that's what I wanted. I was like, nobody told me that.
A lot of freedom, man. It's funny. I just talked to
So,
him today, man. Like that's my guy.
oh, really?
Yeah, that's my dude, man. But I remember him at Concerta, man. He got all the shots he wanted there.
But I mean, I think he averaged like 20, 22
Had a
nearly.
great year. Had a great year.
I mean,
Had a
it was
great
just.
year.
I was like, man. I mean, it's tough, like you said. When the confidence, the role on the team, and the confidence, they kind of align, and I mean,
Sky's the
you're
limit.
ready for it. I mean, if you're ready for it as a player, I mean, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, sky's the limit then, bro. Like
Um,
honestly,
so it's just, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, but this has been good stuff, I think, for a lot of rookies, a lot of, you know, players from overseas that they should listen and learn from this stuff. And now, what I really want to talk about, the last part of it, a bit of it, you know, we talked a little bit of the mental side. I know you're huge in that.
mm-hmm.
We're joking about it. I told you you should be a mindset coach, right? I mean, I had a mindset, mental coach, whatever you want to call it, and I had the great results with it. As
mm-hmm.
far as I know you read a lot of motivational books, psychology
Mm-hmm.
books, stuff like that, and I've been on that too for the last few years. Since I had a coach, I think that's great. But tell me, what's like the most intriguing part about whatever you read and whatever you can apply to sports, right? Because I mean, not all psychology books are sports related, but the motivational books. And how do you find? I know you always find a way to, like I said, even last year when it wasn't your position and you're not playing well and stuff like that, you're still trying to find a way to be positive, to find the light. Like you were telling me earlier, right? I mean, the stars shine in the dark.
Man.
Uh, we're talking about that, so this is the part I want to end on the mental side. Your approach to basketball, to life, on the mental side of things, and how important you think that is. Not just for basketball players. I think just how important is the mental side in general. Because with the quarantine right now, I feel like a lot of people are going to come out pretty banged up mentally. I would say
Yeah.
more than anything else.
Yeah. Man, the coolest thing that it kind of dawned upon me while reading and kind of on this path of kind of changing my mental when it came to basketball. For me, a lot of times the physical is easy. Like the physical part of just life in general, you can beat yourself up, you can buff yourself up, you can slim yourself down. You can do all these things to your body. The physical part is easy, and you see the results like that. 6 weeks, 3 days, a week of eating bad food. You're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel your body because the physical is the easy part. The mental and the spiritual side is the hardest part. But for me, the mental really is spiritual then mental, but the mental one is what makes your body go. The mental one, because you have to tell your body follows what your mind says. Even if your body doesn't really, even if you don't realize you're sending signals to your body all the time, and it comes from this part up here. But we never work this muscle. We just work out these muscles. We strengthen our bodies. We never strengthen the mental side. So for me, once I realized that the brain was the strongest muscle that I need to have when it came to just life in general, it changed everything. And that just came from a perspective change. I changed my perspective, like how I viewed my career, how I viewed myself, how I viewed everything. I try to flip that, man. I want to see it from a different perspective because the way that I view it from my first person, perspective, from my eyes, it's not the same way that someone sees it from a different angle. The way I see myself is different how my wife sees me. It's different how you see me. It's different how my son sees me. He sees me from the bottom up, not the top down. So it's like changing that
Yeah.
perspective in life in general kind of helps you see different situations. So for me, once I did that with the mental side, the mental side of like we talked about with Romania, changing my perspective in that situation. I can look at it and be like, you know what, man, I'm a 4 man. I can't do nothing. I can't shoot. But my thing was, okay, find other ways to be effective on the floor. Still go offensive rebound, set great screens, space the floor correctly. If you catch, if you can shoot it, shoot it. If not, pass it away, go set another screen roll. If not, keep defending guys. Like for me, that was my biggest thing in Romania was defending guys. I remember I would find myself defending guards, point guards, 3 man, fives, fours. But I took it as a challenge because that's what I could do in that little bit of space that I had. I had to change that perspective, man, because if I looked at it from the lens that I want to see it through, I down myself. It's easy, man, because mentally, man, it sucks. This is not my position, man. I would complain and I would but that wouldn't get me anywhere. So mentally changing my perspective of things helped me to gain a better grasp of things It helped me to kind of get more motivated to do things. Um, and it just changed my overall outlook in life, man. Honestly, like even now, a lot of times, like in this situation now, like you said, mentally it's tough for people because we're seeing it from one perspective. We're seeing it's a tough time. Like we talked about, everybody's taking losses. Everybody is, stuck at home. Everybody's bored. Everybody's seeing the same thing. Everybody's hearing the same news. Everybody has the same fears, the same anxieties, the same worries. Everybody's worried about their health. Everybody's worried about the health of their loved ones. They worry about their finances. They worry about what's next. They worry about the future. So all those things we all feel, but changing that perspective of it, there's opportunities there. Stars shine at night every single night. They're up there. So for me, there's less light in these little spots, but you got to find those things. You got to change your perspective. You got to look up to see your stars. You keep looking down at your feet and you're sad all the time, you ain't gonna see no lights. So changing that perspective helped me change everything, man. So for me to start reading books on teaching myself, I didn't know how to teach. I didn't know how to change it. Honestly, I had to look for that knowledge. Like a lot of things for me was a lack of knowledge. I didn't know how to physically gain weight, how to fix my body. I seeked out a trainer to gain that knowledge. I didn't know how to change my mental space, my mental capacity, like how I saw things. I seeked out books for that. Once I read those books, I didn't understand how to apply those things to my life in general. So I would try them in practice. I would try them during the week. I would try them just in my daily life here at the house, at home, my wife and my kid. So for me to apply those things that I would try or that I would read about, kind of start to build a confidence in those things and to reassure me that, what, this does work. I can keep this. Some things work, some things didn't work. Okay, I like to do that. That does work. Talking to myself does work. Giving myself cues does work. You know, and the more and more that I would do it, I would find things that I can keep and that work for me, and then I would do away with some things, or I would try to give those to other people. Pass them off. They try this, man. Do this, or I would send a little motivational message. Hey, man, be all right, man. Change your perspective, or I would try to see someone else's situation from a different perspective and give it to them. Like, look at it like this, you know. And all those things compiled, man, kind of changed everything for me. It changed the mental space. It changed my spirit. It changed my energy, man. And it kind of gave me I don't know, a different type of aura or vibe, or for me, it filled my spirit, man. It changed me. For me, it changed everything. That along with my faith. My biggest thing is just that faith is kind of that battery pack that doesn't run out, man. For me, that's the hope for a better tomorrow. If we don't have that, then today's gonna always suck. If you don't feel like tomorrow will be better, then your today is gonna always suck. So seeking that relationship out, man, and building that relationship kind of helped everything in general. And then, like I said, once I figured out the mental and the spiritual, the body fell in line with those two things, man. So once I critiqued those and kind of got those to optimum level, the body came with it.
Yeah. But the body will listen, man. The body will listen. It's just
Always,
a
man.
matter of what you tell it to do, or what you're going to prepare it for. I mean, it's for me a lot of things that work was just visualizing stuff.
Hmm.
The night before the game, I had like a certain audio that I would listen to as far as like the recording of how I would see the game going, like a perfect game type thing, right?
Hmm.
It was like a self-recording of hey, tip off goes off, and then you go off, play a side pick and roll, and you hit your first shot right away. Then you come back, get a steal. That is like basic stuff that you think like kids would do it, but it was really helping me. And like I used that a lot when I was in Estonia, and I think that showed as far as my playing. You really translate the court.
Hmm.
It wasn't happening as you scripted, right? This kind of thing, like the visualization of it. But I mean, it was huge as far as I would go in the game. I mean, I was going to I remember going to Rita's. I was a little bit nervous. Like they had the Songaila who just came back from the NBA, right? And I mean, I grew up in DC watching Dario Songaila start for the Wizards.
That's crazy.
So I mean, for me, I go there. I'm like, oh man, like I got my hands full there. I think at first he gets like an ISO, and he's a little bit older. So I saw the free throw line, he scores with the ISO, and I'm like, man. And that's when like you mentioned, my self-talk came in.
Hmm.
Like I was giving myself cues too. I was like, all right, next play, boom. I always say next play, next play. I miss a shot, I say next play. I make a good shot, I say next play. Otherwise, I stay in the past.
Right.
So like the mental part was huge for me as a shooter, but that's when it kind of started clicking together. Just you got to get it. If you want to have results, you got to be mentally there, mentally connected, and give yourself the right talk, like you said, the right self talk, because whatever you say negative is gonna hunt you down. It's gonna
hunt you, man.
You're not gonna get there. You're just shooting yourself in the foot.
Honestly, you will, man. And the cool thing about it, like the thing that, it's funny because, when I was in Murray, man, my time in Murray was so different because I had two different coaching staffs. My body was changing. I didn't have the confidence in myself. I didn't gain it to my senior year. So it was just so many things happening. Well, the grad assistant there was Amir Abdul Rahim. Like Amir, he's the head coach right now at Kennesaw State. Along with his time there, he had me write these postcards, man, like two postcards, and on those postcards had 4 tabs of like what I needed to do this season. Lead by, I think it was like lead by example, consistency, run the floor, finish around the rim, like just small things to kind of keep me focused in on what I need to do to be successful. And those cards I still carry to this day, man. I have in my book literally to this day. I carry them with me everywhere. I've built a career off of just those, focusing in on those things. So like for me it's one thing to communicate them to yourself and say, you know what, verbally say it or mentally say it.
Yeah.
But what helped me out was to write it down so I can visually see it, because there's more ways to communicate than one. So for me to get that out and write that stuff down and have that in my face to see it, Tone, do this, this, and this, and this, and that's it. And I'm happy. I've never written down, like for me, I've never been a guy to say, you know what, I want to have 40 a game. I've never based my career off of points, because for me, winning is everything to me. I want to win. If I score 3 points, and we win, great, we won, because that's the most important thing for me is winning. So for me to have those pointers, to visually see them every single day, or at least once a week when I would pick up a book to try to read a book, or have it in my backpack, or before a game, just kind of look over it. It will focus me for that game to say, you know what, do these things. These things will put you in a position to be more successful individually, and they will help your team out. And that's what carried me, man. Honestly, that carries me every single day, every season. Honestly, just that visual right there.
But now, what you can end on right now, and I think it's a good point to end on, is all those things are things that you can control. I mean, all the things that you mentioned are things that you can control, because if you're gonna write yourself, hey, I'm gonna go score 40 tonight. That's nothing. Honestly, I mean, I know there's guys like maybe AI, maybe Kobe, MJ, like they'll be like, that's something some they might control, but I would say 99%, 99.9% of hoopers out there, they can't control that. Can you control the number of rebounds? Like, man, I want to go get 10 rebounds. You might go every single time the board, and then the ball might just bounce the other way every single time. That's stuff that I learned too, like on the mental side of things. Just don't quantify it as far as like I want to average 20 and 10. That's not a good goal to have. But like you said, like run the floor every time is the biggest crucial, because that can open up rebound points. It can open up lanes for your teammates to shoot, pass, whatever, drive. Being consistent as a big, I think, okay, as a player in general is great. As a shooter, I think that's what brings you value. As a big, I think that's the same thing. It's what brings you value, and it raises your value, the consistency, right? I mean, what am I going to get from 20 and 20 tonight and 5 and 2 tomorrow, or am I going to get like 10 and 10 every night? I prefer 10 and 10 every night than 20 and 10 one night.
Definitely.
I win one game as a coach, and then I lose the next one because he gave me 5 and 2.
Exactly.
So I
Definitely.
think that's another thing that So you mentioned consistency, running the floor. This is all stuff they can control. I think for the players now, especially for the younger players, I think that's what they got to focus on.
Yeah.
You can lose track of it. In Europe, especially in Europe, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have a few bad games, you might get cut. It just depends on the situation you're in.
Yes.
And I think that was really good stuff. You just mentioned all that, and that's part of why I really want to do like one of my first podcasts with you, because I know you're not going to bring on the experience from overseas back to the podcast, but you're going to bring the knowledge that I think a lot of players lack nowadays.
Yeah.
As far as like we talked about, as far as the mental side of things and how things work in Europe and how you have to adjust to all these things and find yourself. Basically, I think there's the key to this podcast right here. You kind of find yourself to be happy to be able to produce.
Definitely, man. The biggest thing is like you said, finding yourself, man. I believe in yourself. You know, I didn't. For me, I felt like I was just kind of I felt like I was just a run of the mill player. You know, I always kind of tap myself as there was nothing special about me. It was just they can find another Tony Easley. But at the same time, what made me who I am now, what allowed me to get through to these 10 years has been me being me. You know, so I think the earlier you can figure out what you do, figure out what you do well, figure out the things that put you in a situation where you have the best opportunity to win, to play. If it's basketball, what are your strengths that give you the best opportunity to win games or to produce to your optimal performance? If you're in office, it's the same thing. Like no matter where you are, giving yourself or doing things that give you the best opportunity or set you up to have the best opportunity to win per se, each day is what you have to do, man. And that comes down with you finding out who you are. You have to go inside to find that first. And the more you spend time finding that, the more the outside gets better for you. The more you're able to find yourself in situations and put yourself in situations that you couldn't handle before, you're able to handle them now because you're reassured who you are. You're sure of I'm this. You're not going with the ways of the world. You're kind of set in stone. Your roots are grounded. So the more you kind of go inside to figure out who you are as self, the better self can beat everybody else, man. So I feel like that's the biggest key for a lot of young players. A lot of young players want to be like somebody else. Be like yourself. But you got to spend more time, figuring out yourself and reading books and just being with yourself than watching somebody else. Just the skill stuff, you can figure that stuff out. But to handle yourself, to figuring out how to handle your emotions, figuring out how to handle, the mental side, how to handle your spirit, figuring out how to handle your body, figuring out how to handle, just relationships in general, business in general, those things come from inside. Those things come from your experiences, and you can't live that life through anyone else. You have to live it yourself and face it yourself. So the better you're able to handle those things, the better you'll be, man. But that comes from within, dog. The more time you spend within, the better the out will be.
All right, Tony, man, I appreciate it. So we're gonna end with this, but so everybody got to find themselves, and I think it's a good time right now to find yourself. I think it certainly helped me. I'll be honest with you, to find myself as far as off the court and on the court. I think that I already knew stuff, but I think off the court definitely find like kind of a happy place. Uh, so we really, Tony, I appreciate. I'm sure everybody that listens, they appreciate being all honest with us and telling us exactly how things are and then what you think and going forward. I mean, we'll stay in touch, but I really appreciate your time, man.
I appreciate
Now, I
it,
mean, if
man.
it's not too late, I mean, take the little one to bed if it's not too late, man.
I think he's in there knocked out, man. But I'm gonna still get my good night kiss, man. I gotta get my kiss from my little man. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do that.
All
But I
right, man,
appreciate it,
Tony.
Vlad, man.
Appreciate it, man. I
Thank you,
appreciate
bro.
it too, man. All right, man. Take care.
Take care, bro.
All right.